Between all the superheroics and balancing a double life as a playboy billionaire, it's a wonder that Batman has any time in his life for genuine romance. But lucky for us, there's been enough important ladies in his life to make a list of the top 10 Batman love interests. Let's hop right into the countdown, shall we? Coming in at number 10, we have Dr. Pamela Isley, aka Poison Ivy. While this plant-based villain is best known these days as being the healthiest relationship Harley Quinn has ever had, in many early Batman adventures, Ivy had her eye set on the very man trying to stop her schemes. And while there are a few storylines where this attraction was more than one-sided, for the most part, this relationship mostly consisted of Poison Ivy kissing Batman to mind control him and aid in her plant-based plans. And since that's not exactly the most romantic of circumstances, Poison Ivy is going to have to stay as an honorable mention on this list. Coming in at number 9, we have Dina Drake, aka Black Canary. While more closely associated with Green Arrow and the Birds of Prey in the mainstream DC universe, in the highly controversial Frank Miller book All-Star Batman and Robin, Batman and Black Canary let the sparks fly. Literally. After a fight against some henchmen on the docks of Gotham Harbor that sees both costume vigilantes backed into a corner, Batman lights the goons on fire with a Molotov cocktail. Then, with the docks still burning, Black Canary and Batman succumb to their urges and decide to get freaky on a burning pier. As I said, All-Star Batman and Robin is a bit controversial and weird, but hey, this moment's wild enough that Black Canary makes the list. Coming in at number 8, we have Kathy Kane, aka the very first Batwoman. Created by DC Comics in the 1950s to push back against any rumors of Batman and Robin comics secretly promoting a homosexual agenda, Batwoman was the very first romantic partner for Batman in the comics, even getting married on the cover of some notable issues. And while Batwoman has over the decades been fleshed out into becoming a character worthy of standing on her own, this original romance was basically just copy and pasting a lady version of Batman for him to marry so that everyone knew that Batman liked girls. Oh, comic books. Coming in at number 7, we have Silver St. Cloud. A wealthy socialite that became one of Bruce Wayne's primary love interests during the 1980s, Silver was initially only dating the playboy persona Batman puts up as a disguise, but was smart enough to eventually figure out that her boyfriend was actually the Caped Crusader. And while this revelation would eventually lead to the two breaking up, as Silver couldn't bear to see Bruce going off into dangerous situations every night, the two still had a close bond until her tragic death years later at the hands of a serial killer supervillain, because, of course, Batman's history wasn't dark and depressing enough. Coming in at number 6, we have Diana Prince, aka the iconic Wonder Woman. That's right, despite the potential awkwardness of an office romance happening within the Justice League, there have been a few occasions where Wonder Woman and Batman have shown an attraction to each other as more than just friends in the main DC universe, including a moment where they almost kissed on the battlefield against the hordes of Gehenna, but ultimately decided against it as both of them were already in committed relationships at the time. Nevertheless, alternate universe takes like the animated Justice League show have continued to showcase a more flirty side of these two heroes' relationship, and even if they don't wind up together, Wonder Woman and Batman will always have each other's backs. Coming in at number 5, we have Vivki Vale, a reporter for the Gotham Gazette. During an era of DC Comics in which Lois Lane was becoming increasingly popular, Batman was also given a journalist love interest under the name of Vivki Vale, but unfortunately wouldn't be as long-lived or unique as Lois and Clark's love. Nevertheless, Vivki is still a fan favorite in some circles, and notably appeared as Batman's main love interest in the original Tim Burton Batman movie. And hey, if Vivki's good enough for Hollywood, she's good enough for this list. Coming in at number 4, we have Talia Al Ghul, the daughter of the Demon. The daughter of the immortal Batman villain Ra's al Ghul, Batman and Talia have found themselves in a forbidden romance over the years, attracted to one another despite the war Batman constantly fights against Ra's al Ghul's plans. To further complicate their relationship, Talia and Bruce actually have a son together in the form of Damian Wayne, who was created in secrecy through the couple's genetic material and was only revealed to his father at the age of 10. Talia and Bruce haven't been romantic together in many years, but considering Ra's al Ghul is still a dangerous villain, and they still have a son together who operates as the latest Robin, Talia and Bruce's paths will definitely cross again in the future. Coming in at number 3, we have Rachel Dawes from the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. Portrayed by Katie Holmes in Batman Begins and Maggie Gyllenhaal in The Dark Knight, Rachel was this version of Batman's supposed true love, the person that he hoped to someday share a life with once he'd finished his mission as Batman. Unfortunately, this love story would end in tragedy during the events of The Dark Knight, as Rachel was murdered in an explosion by the Joker after tricking Batman into rescuing the wrong person, also causing the birth of the villain Two-Face. Rachel's death would haunt Bruce for the rest of the trilogy, showing just how tragic the Batman's love life could become. Coming in at number 2, we have Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman. Originally just a cat burglar in a slightly more elaborate costume, Catwoman terrorized Gotham City for a while as her heists grew more and more elaborate, and continued to be foiled by the Batman. Over the years, however, their flirty dynamic would expand as Selina began to become more of an anti-hero than an outright villain, to the point that Batman and Catwoman were even set to be married for a long time. And while comic book shenanigans might have complicated their relationship lately, Batman and Catwoman are still one of the best pairings in all of DC Comics. And finally, coming in at our top spot, we have Andrea Beaumont, aka the Phantasm. Originally debuting in the animated film Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, Andrea Beaumont was Bruce Wayne's first love, the girl he almost considered abandoning his mission as Batman for before the mission had even begun. Unfortunately for Bruce, Andrea and his relationship was forced to an end by the death of her father, causing Andrea to begin her descent into becoming the vengeful spirit known as the Phantasm. As a villain with an incredibly cool design and a very personal connection to Batman, the Phantasm might not have had as big an impact on the comics, but still remains, in my opinion, the best Batman love story ever told. That's all the time we have for today's list, but thank you all so much for watching. As always, I've been Josh Busker, and I'll see you all next time, Nerd Squad.